All right, so today I had a taste for a 10-piece wing. There's a place here around where I live that makes just wings of various flavors and whatnot, locally owned, and yeah, I get wings sometimes. And so I drove by there today and I was pleased to see that they put signs out there saying that they don't use seed oils. They use tallow. Okay. I was very pleased to see that. And the reason why I was pleased to see that is because maybe about 2 years ago, I kind of came on to tallow. And it's interesting that I had never heard of it before, but it's really because it's a fat that unless you're probably in like the paleo circles and all that stuff, you don't really hear about it much anymore. It's something that like people like my grandparents and people before them used to use, that you don't use as much now, and for good reason I'm gonna get into now. And when I say good reason, I don't mean good as in like it was good that they did that. It's more so like there are it's very specific reasons why they did it that really are not necessarily good. Now, for you who are wondering what in the world tallow is beef fat. Specifically, it's known as rendered beef fat, and what that means is basically you get like parts of the beef parts, ribs or organ meats or whatever, and you usually warm them up to kind of melt the fat off, and that's really the rendering process. And so tallow, like I say, beef fat is actually a fat that was used a whole lot for cooking. Now, a lot of times, like a lot of the things that we eat today that are fried, they were fried in tallow or its pork counterpart lard. Okay. And now the reason why we don't use tallow as much is because of a series of things that happened years and years ago that essentially kind of pushed tallow and lard as well into obscurity. Now I don't use lard. I try not to do a whole lot of pork. But that said, whenever Crisco and all that came onto into the market, that's when tallow and animal fat in general started to get pushed off the market. But here's the thing, and this is where the processing of food, this is where it starts to become more understandable why processed food is so problematic, it's so bad. So vegetable oils as we know them, you got canola oil, soybean oil, various other seed oils and whatnot. Vegetable oil came onto the scene around the time, like I think this is early 1900s, around the time when there is a big surplus of cotton seeds that were available. Why? Because cotton, is a big crop in our country in particular, really kind of around the world, especially in the West, I guess. But cotton, is produced for all its various things like, clothes and whatnot. And so because of there being a lot of cotton produced, there is consequentially a lot of cotton seeds, some of which were used to plant more cotton, of course, but there's still like I guess way more seeds than people could really kind of handle. And so they were just going bad in warehouses and stuff like that. Now, feel free to do your own research. This is kind of like what I found out. However, a company called Procter and Gamble eventually around the early 1900s came up with a use for cotton seeds, pressing the oil out of the seeds, and then by a process called hydrogenation, turning that oil into something that kind of resembled lard. Basically, like a liquid oil into like a more solid oil. And if you've used Crisco before, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. So it's like a more smooth, creamy oil. And then it began to be advertised as healthier than animal fats, among other things. Okay. And so that caught on. And then, Crisco and vegetable oil in general began to be more of a thing. Now, if you were watching the news here within the past 10 years, you know that hydrogenated oil, excuse me, hydrogenated oils vegetable oils and stuff like that were really kind of like exposed for what they really and truly were. Now, before I get into that, hydrogenation is really a process of pushing um, hydrogen into oil by like some sort of, I think, mechanical process or something like that. And what it does is it apparently like provides some level of um, maybe stability to the oil or something like that. However, in that, what's created is what you call trans fats, fats that are actually very harmful to the body. They are very hard for the body to break down, and they're very much linked to the things that people were saying that animal fats were so dangerous for, like heart disease and stuff. And they apparently they oxidize very easily. And oxidation basically has to do with like the oil breaking down and it releases what's called free radicals, which whenever you consume those, it actually can damage the cells of your body and lead to inflammation and all kind of other health problems that are common in America and other Western countries. So again, do your research to kind of see this stuff. And so anyhow, just to cut to the chase, hydrogenation in recent times has been exposed for like the danger to health as it, that it actually is. And a lot of these other modern day popular diets like paleo and keto have really kind of brought back to the public knowledge oils like tallow, and how they were, and those actually being used for cooking and whatnot. So tallow, you may or may not know, was what a lot of like fast food companies in their early days used to fry their foods in. You may or may not have heard that that was part of the reason that McDonald's fries kind of developed their reputation because they used to be cooked in tallow. And apparently, it's the same for a lot of other companies, Popeyes, and I can't remember a couple of other companies I saw. I'll include my links in the description. But various other companies use tallow to fry their food in. Okay, now understand what I'm about to say with this. Let me preface it by saying this: I'm not making a case for eating a whole lot of food fried in tallow. I'm not. I believe it's still wise to moderate your consumption of even animal fats. However, I'm saying all this to say that animal fats don't necessarily appear to be as harmful as people purported them to be. Now, is some of this also the effect on people may also depend on the individual person. I've heard that some people can eat, because animal fats are high in saturated fat, okay, which also doesn't necessarily seem like it's been as harmful as it was once purported to be. However, I think it can also depend on the person, as far as like whether or not it will raise your cholesterol. I once heard that on, I think, Human Lab or Dr. Hyman's podcast. I can't remember. No, Dr. Hyman's podcast is what it was. I can't remember. I think it is that, but I don't know the episode. However, it's wise for you to kind of like do, check your blood work and whatnot to kind of see if such saturated fat does have an effect on you. Either way, just moderate usage is kind of like what the idea is. But tallow is actually pretty high. So it has 50% saturated fat, 50 roughly 50% mono unsaturated fat, which is considered heart healthy fat, and then 4% what you call polyunsaturated fat. Now, tallow actually can provide a decent amount of omega-3 fatty acids, which, as you know, we tend to think of those as healthier fats, but really what the issue is that you need a good balance of omega-3 fats and omega-6 fats. If I'm not mistaken, omega-9s too, but I don't know much about those. But we tend to have a lot of omega-6s in our diet based on the way that we eat. And so incorporate more omega-3s is important. So tallow apparently can be pretty high in omega-3 fatty acids, in particular if it is grass-fed tallow. So the source matters. Tallow tends to have, fat-soluble vitamins in it like A, D, E, K, as well as B12. And the consumption of tallow can help you to absorb those fats more easily into your own body. And then there are other nutrients that are available in tallow as well. Um, it also is possibly good for brain health because of the fact that your brain is almost totally fat. Okay, and so tallow apparently can be, healthy for your brain. And then another thing, I talked about oxidation of vegetable oils and whatnot. Tallow is pretty stable. It's actually quite stable, and it has a high smoke point. Smoke point is essentially the temperature at which it starts to smoke on you. Um, and if you've cooked, you know what I'm talking about. And that's important because that's when you're getting a lot of oxidation, which again is bad for your health. And so tallow has a quite high smoke point, like 420 degrees to 480 degrees. And again, to reiterate, the reason why vegetable oils, which most everything is fried in, it's all those yellowish oils or like the Crisco solid oils or whatever. These tend to be bad because of the hydrogenation. They tend to be bad because of the deodorization. In other words, kind of taking the smell out of the oil so it doesn't smell bad, and even kind of like making the oil look certain ways. So bleaching the oils and whatnot. Um, in other words, high levels of refining and hydrogenation are what make vegetable oils bad and actually pretty dangerous for the body. So just be mindful of that. So I do buy tallow myself. Every now and then I get like a big tub of it. So here's the tallow that we use. I just wanted to show you. You're gonna see in there. So it's like a slightly off-white, kind of fat, even slightly yellowish. But yep, it kind of looks like Crisco if you used that before as a kid or whatever. It's pretty thick, it's creamy, and it actually is good. It's good for moisturization too. Good to rub on your skin. It won't have you smelling like hamburgers or nothing. So don't worry. And you know, my kids can definitely tell the difference. I'll say this and I'll let you guys go. So one thing we do a lot is roasted potatoes. Just cube some potatoes up and then put them in. A lot of times we do like coconut oil, warm it up in the oven, and then from there fry the potatoes in the oil and then put just a sprinkling of salt and garlic powder in there. But when we start doing those in beef tallow, my kids, especially one of my kids, really, really, really like them in the tallow more because it's crunchier and a heartier flavor. But now she it's hard to get her to eat them in coconut oil anymore. So anyhow, so your kids might like it better too. Make your own decisions and whatnot. I just wanted to tell you, about my usage of tallow and whatnot. Just personal experience. Anyhow, y'all have a good one. Check it out. Does this describe you? You're a person who already exercises, or you have significant experience with exercising in the past. You're self motivated. In other words, you don't mind pushing yourself. You'll go out there to the gym or to wherever you work out and you'll push yourself. You're not getting the results that you want with your current routine, your lifestyle routine, your workout routine. And you need an expert to help you to pinpoint the areas that you need to tweak so that you can finally get the results that you want. If this describes you, my customized workout and wellness program is probably just a thing for you. So it includes the following. It includes an initial virtual fitness consultation so we can see exactly where you are. It includes 4 weeks worth of workout routines that are customized based on your goals. It also includes specific diet recommendations, also customized based on food journaling that you provide to me, and I give you feedback and tips to change your diet to a healthier one that supports your goals. And then finally, it includes exercise tutorials that I've created myself to guide you through some of the moves. If you're interested in one of my customized workout and wellness programs just for you, make sure you click below, click the link, and go ahead and fill out that questionnaire, and we'll go ahead and get the process started. I look forward to helping you. As we get older, it becomes increasingly important to maintain and build muscle. Muscle helps you burn fat, stay mobile, and can contribute to longevity. However, many people have no idea how to work out to build muscle. My mini workout series on Patreon provides you with my bodyweight mini workout video library. These workouts use little to no equipment, which means that you can do them in the privacy of your own home. They start at beginner level and progress from there to ensure you continue to see results. Every workout is a full body workout, hitting chest, back, legs, and glutes, as well as other muscles in between. Become a patron today and receive access to my series of mini workouts, plus access to a digital copy of my book, 8 Weeks to Transform Your Diet and Your Health. By combining the workouts with healthy diet changes, as outlined in my book, you'll definitely be on your way to weight loss, improved health, and visible results. Join me at patreon.com/SeanB2B Fitness today.